Hi, this is Alexandra Kitty, hostess of Clue IQ Chronicles, Crime, Code, and Clues. This is a new season, new year, and we're going to go into a different paths than we did in the first season. And one of the things I want to talk about today is this AI doomerism and this anti-AI propaganda. And this is what it is. What sometimes starts as a legitimate grievance gets co-opted, and by people who don't have the same feel for the original arguments, and then they go in a different path and they cognitively hijack things. And then once you see it, you can't unsee it. So you have now I'm talking as somebody who is an artist, who is an author of 21 books. So I am in the creative industries. I don't say what I do is content. That's a slop term. What's the content? Words, art, music, acting. When you hear content, that is such a cold term and inaccurate. Yet, there's people in that field who went along with this title. Well, content creator. Well, I'm a content creator. Okay, you're a slop creator. You're going by formula, using somebody else's IP. It's work for hire. It's not creative. And it's very restricted. So you have this group of people who are now going on and on about how AI is bad. They call it AI slop. It's very propagandistic. And if you read them on Reddit and X, you can see they all take the same articles. There's no attribution to their arguments because they're all arguing the same. So they're copying arguments from other sources and not giving proper attribution. And this is where we're seeing this movement. They heard something from, authors going, well, guys copying our work, we should get compensated. And I do believe in that. There should be some sort of, it doesn't need to be a big compensation because most authors, their books make less than $1,000. And I'm not talking self-published people. They make pittance, they make pennies on their self-published work. We're talking about authors in independent or, the Sister Five publishers. So they actually can get published by a legitimate publisher. It's not a vanity press. It's an actual publisher. They don't make a lot of money because people don't read books the way they used to. That's an old-timey medium. They do have long-form concentration in terms of gaming. They can play it for hours. But when it comes to sitting and reading a book, it's not the same. You will get one or two authors who can, and it's usually not real authors. It's ghostwriters writing for, let's say, a wayward celebrity or some sort of high-profile person that has a grievance or has gotten in trouble. Those books still will sell, but it's not, in terms of nonfiction, it's not a big whoop. So you have maybe 1 to 5 books a year that could sell from a celebrity who needs a ghostwriter. Very few of them can actually write the book themselves. It's not unheard of, but it's rare. And then you have people complaining. Most of these people never had a book published or an article published or anything published. So when you hear these people who complain, okay, what is your body of work? They have none. So why is this a concern to you? So what's happened here with the AI doomerism? It's a very specific scaffolding of their thinking. Now, I studied propaganda. I wrote books about manipulation and propaganda. In 2020 came Mind Under Siege, Mechanisms of War Propaganda. And that is something I studied for decades, working in journalism through method research. Now, why is it narcissism? And how did we get to where we have people who are grandiose and vulnerable narcissists go out and now cling on to this anti-AI propaganda? We can see this as a generational cultivation, inadvertent cultivation, I will add. This is not some sort of grand scheme of social media. So to understand where we are now, let's talk a little bit about the advent of social media. So I was there, way back when Twitter, and Facebook and YouTube just came out, and I signed up as soon as I could. I thought, this is really great. No gatekeepers. And you can directly talk to other people. You don't have to be at the mercy of the press to say what you have to say. Blogs and all this stuff was forums. Fantastic. So if you had a message, you didn't have to wait to get published because publishing is a long, slow process. Even if you're dealing with magazine articles and stuff like that, that takes sometimes months. But social media is instantaneous, and you had follows and likes. So all of a sudden, this became very addictive. It's a very me-centered medium. It is a form of publishing. It is a medium, but it's the fourth medium. But it's devised where people are chasing clicks, likes, follows, subscriptions, where they're trying to amass as many people to look at me, look at me, look at me. And you have people who are obsessed with their selfies. They airbrush their selfies. They put fake backgrounds on their Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So there's all this adding, icing to the cake, where there's no cake, but there's a whole bunch of icing. And they'll copy other people. Things go viral. That means other people copy them. It's not their own thinking. It's not their own thoughts, but they get attention and then they think it's them. So they think over the time they can put stuff online. Anything will do. And then people will like it, comment on it, share it. So then people start thinking they're smart, that they're talented, that they're artistic, that they're witty, and they're not. This is the illusion of social media. Falsely amplifies attention, and then people look for reasons, not that maybe that they're acting silly or like a freak, and then people are looking at a train wreck. They think they're special. And this is what social media fostered, a narcissistic scaffold. Very me-centered, people, only friending people who think the way they do. So you see something like Reddit, well, if I don't agree with you, I'll give you negative karma. And if you say what I want to hear, I'll give you positive karma, as if that meant something. Your opinion is just useless. It's worthless. Doesn't matter. Facts matter. But here we go with social media for almost 20 years. We have a generation that has grown up, insulated, sheltered, and narcissistic. They might not have a personality defect, but their sense of reality is through a narcissistic scaffolding. They think it's all about them, their problems. If they're offended, then we should, absolutely change everything for them. And I'm not talking left, left, right. There's no difference. It's two sides of the same coin. So people then, think they have a brand. So they have, their little websites, their Substacks, and they think they have a brand and that they're special. They're smarter than other people. They're more talented than other people. They know things and nobody else does. But then and this is the antidote to social media, because what it does is prove that art, writing, all of this music, all of this stuff where people's identity hinged on them being better than other people, that they're more artistic, people don't understand them because they're special, that AI can do it faster and better. And now their whole house of cards is tumbling right before their eyes. All that's happening is a big psychological correction. So AI, which is extremely helpful, all of a sudden takes that specialness and automates it. It's no different than when we had the Industrial Revolution and machines took over physical labor. And I'm sure a lot of people who had, they had good jobs, they thought they were irreplaceable, they were young, they were strong, they were agile, they could do things, and they thought they were special. And then a machine could do it better than they could. And that's why you have a Rust Belt. Broken dreams because people put too much stock in thinking they have to be special for their talent. And what a lot of people don't understand is talent is replaceable. You can be a very good singer. You can still be replaced. New generation doesn't care about you. You've been replaced. And in the entertainment industry in North America has never been about talent. It has always been about archetypes, because you are a sanctioned fantasy stand-in for middle-class people. So when you have a singer on stage, people don't see the singer on stage. They see themselves on stage singing and performing. If they see an actor or an actress in a movie, they don't see that celebrity. They see themselves in there, or they see themselves as the leading man or leading woman who is, having their way with the dreamboat in question. So people don't even realize that their fantasies are pre-processed through popular culture. So we started with this, with the entertainment industry in the United States, where people fantasize. And we could say even before that with novels and books where people had stories and they don't, they immerse themselves in the world, that world, but they don't really think about these characters outside of themselves. They're the detective or they're the superhero. They are part of this story because they can't come up with an original idea themselves. So this has been a cultivation of having people think of themselves as part of this hyper reality. So we saw this very much with the Harry Potter books. The characters, the muggles, the people beneath notice, and then the chosen one, Harry Potter. So, you had a generation of kids thought they were the chosen one. And then when they grew up and reality hit them, they were the muggles. And social media kind of took the bite out of that. Maybe, okay, you're not a billionaire, but you have 70,000 followers on TikTok. You have a lot. You have to be special. Your sophistry is actually brilliant insights. Your logical flaws, show that you're telling it like it is. This is what we have. You're copying other people's musical styles. You're copying other people's artistic styles. You're ripping off other people's fictional stories and reappropriating them and repurposing them. But this is your somehow original idea. So social media didn't stand in the way of these people. It actually goaded them. It egged them on. And then came AI that totally took their very mediocre, uninspired, appropriated, sometimes even the plagiarism, and said, a machine can do it in seconds, better than you. And this is why we have AI doomerisms. This house of cards, their narcissism has now totally been exposed, but they cannot say that they are anti-AI because of this selfish reason. So they have to say, well, it steals. Well, so do you. It's not original. Neither were you. You're not original. You're talking about arguments about AI that you didn't originate. That didn't come from you heard it from somewhere else. And you thought, oh, this works for them. I'll take it and I'll say it as if this is obvious. This is my brilliant mind telling you this. Because the original people who were sounding the alarm, it was honest. But that can be remedied and you can still use the AI. You wouldn't have to impede progress because of it. You just change the funding formula. But people who have taken that and co-opted that argument now, that's not why they're saying it. They're saying it because social media is on the verge of collapse because of AI, because why would I listen to you when I can get this from software? And they will totally ignore facts that do not work in their narrative because they're very selfish. The first argument is, well, this is terrible. We shouldn't use it. There are so many countries now, and a growing number of countries, that are starting to teach AI literacy in grade school all over globally. So we're talking now millions of children who are now learning AI literacy at age 6. So we're going to keep people in North America back for you while all the other people are, they're going on. Life goes on without you. You're a Luddite. That's fine. But you do not have the right to keep other people back, to keep progress back, because your TikTok page is just not worth preserving. So it's going on. There are countries who are not having these debates. This is something very specific to me-centered Western culture. And the second thing that is usually overlooked by these people is how much AI has helped people who are neurodivergent, people who have attention deficit disorder or, are on the autism spectrum. They have learning disabilities, all sorts of things. I'm going to say English is not their first language, but they could be from any language into a new country where that's not their native tongue. And AI helps level the playing field. This is an absolute breakthrough. It's been a breakthrough in medical diagnoses. It has been a breakthrough in law enforcement. There has so many good things that have come in such a short time. And people don't understand because they don't even know what kind of AI. Is it agentic AI? Is it generative AI? What AI are you talking about? There's many of them. This is a plurality. This AI is just a catch-all term, but they are so AI illiterate. They don't know any of this. They think it's just, pictures or words. AI has so many applications, and yet they don't know a single one because they have never really used it. And worse still, they think it's some like a search engine or a chat room. They do not even know how to use it. They don't immerse themselves. Now, I was on the other side of this debate. And then I said, you know what? That's not who you are. You did method research, go. So I did. And the more I used it, I said, it's about time to reevaluate my stance on the matter. And I did. I did a complete 180 because once I got to understand and study this, the more I seen its utility. It is this century's greatest piece of technology. It was, its origins started during the Second World War. And if you have read any of my books, you might be familiar with the political psychology of the Second World War, where I talk about the three core literacies and why primal literacy fell away for analytical domination. And now we're starting to see a shift towards emotional dominance. But it doesn't seem that because you have people who are so-called creatives who like to say they're sensitive, they're emotional. They're not. They are not that at all. Because if you're sensitive, you go, okay, I don't like AI here, but it's obviously helping people who for years or for decades who were struggling alone. They had to be at the mercy of a teacher, a professor who would work with them. Maybe we should just kind of reassess. No. They want that gone. They want to take people back. It's like corporations with RTO. You can have people work from home. This is, an advancement, but now you want to have, you want to play politics in the office. You want to have affairs. You want RTO. And it was also a good way, to not tell people that you were financially in a slump. So you are going to have this ultimatum and then people will quit and you don't have to pay them severance. This was a way of doing it. So you have lots of technology where we could seriously advance things. But then you have people being stubborn for selfish reasons, for self-serving reasons, because they don't want progress. They want stagnation. They want predictability. They've memorized these rules and they think it's rigged in their favor, so they stick to these rules. And AI I wouldn't call it a disruptor. I would call it a corrector. It is a corrector of narcissism, which has totally bogged down society within the last 15 years. And this is one other unforeseen benefit of AI. And when I seen this is when I started to say, okay, I can make, interactive documentaries using AI because it can do things that people are not very good at doing on their own. AI doesn't care about its social media feeds. People, on the other hand, will compromise themselves, humiliate themselves in public just to get another like, just to get 10 more followers. I've never been a numbers chaser. Take it or leave it. Say what say your piece. And I have said my piece in my books, in my blog posts, in my articles, what have you, and in my podcast. So when we're looking at the future of AI, you're dealing with a very propagandistic scaffolding of people who had the shock of their lives that software could replace them. The same shock that people who used physical labor felt when things became automated. People, all these jobs are going to be lost. Yes, because they're obsolete. We don't need you there anymore. We need you somewhere else. New jobs come cropping up. New opportunities arise with this. People now can make their own companies. People now can do other things. So that's all I have to say for myself this week. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to see you next week. Ta-ta for now.